What are we going to tell the people about today?
The roller coaster ride of conversations that we're going to have today are going to be how's fashion changed in the wedding industry. I mean, since we've been in it, which has been a long time.
Mm-hmm. And the uniqueness of a wedding, like how it has become more of a representation of the couple as opposed to the tradition that we think a wedding is.
Definitely, yes, that's changed.
So the evolution of what we've seen and the experience that we've seen, like the change in the actual experience of buying your dress.
Absolutely.
And the question that we wanted to ask, so we've saved this question. What do you want to see?
Change in the industry, yes. Tell us what you want to see. Let's get into this. Welcome to the Chronicles of Caffeine and Ambition, hosted by the Cinder Sisters. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Megan. And what we are here to do on our podcast is tell you about business, life, families, essentially everything that we do, we want to share with you because we have a lot of self-confidence. We've learned a lot of self-confidence over the years.
We sure have.
And we want to share that with you. We want to show you how.
Let's do this.
So where did it all start?
I was going to be like the chicken and the egg. That one? Is that where? Not that.
Not that. Where did the wedding start? So let's talk about the evolution of weddings. And we can go back a little bit to like the beginnings or the funny things that we know about where the veil came from and that kind of thing. But what has the evolution of weddings been since we've been in the industry?
So it has been 27 years.
Oh, did you count?
No.
Because we always say this, and I always go, it's been about, I don't know, 25,
I think
30.
I've been saying 27 years for the past 3 years, so it could be close to 30 years now we've been in the industry. It's been a really long time. There's been so much that's changed. It is unreal. We used to ask you when you would come to the shop to bring in your magazine. You would pull all the pictures out of the magazine and come in with your scrapbook of pictures and be like, these are the dresses I was looking at. And the dresses at the time all looked the same. They all had like a puffy shoulder and a sleeve and like basque waists were big then. So This is how long we've been in the industry that basque waists are coming back again.
And they were fuller skirts, like they were fitted in the waist, but full skirt.
Full skirts, generally almost always a satin. We used to do a lot of raw silk. There was a couple companies that we carried that did raw silk, and that was beautiful. And it always made like a crinkle noise. Or like if you couldn't afford the raw silk, you would buy shantung, and that made more of a diaper sound. It's the things that fashion said were cool at that time. That then there's a full like, I was going to say 360. There's a full 180. Get my degrees right here. Complete switch. That's not cool anymore. We don't want that noise that came from those fabrics. But it was a thing at a time. It was. I mean, and we used to be able to. Silk wasn't as expensive as now. Like you just dresses aren't made of silk anymore. Mm-hmm. It's all satin or crepe or even jerseys now. A lot of them are being made out of jerseys. Mm-hmm. It's majority polyester fabrics just because they're cheaper to make and more widely
accessible.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow. Get the words out, Stace.
Yeah, the fashion has 100% changed. And I mean, we were even just talking about that earlier today in the sense that ball gowns were around for a very long time.
Yes.
But for the last, I said 10 years when we were saying it earlier, and I do think that that's fairly accurate. I think it's been almost 10 years that we were doing majority fitted dresses.
Done a lot of fitted. We did a decent amount of A-line, more floaty when we went through that bohemian phase for a long time. Mm-hmm. So we did a decent amount of that, but like actual true, when you think of like Cinderella ball gowns, we haven't done those for years. Like, don't get me wrong, lots of people still buy them, but in the majority that we sell, now this could be exclusive to our shop.
I suppose it could be. Probably exclusive to an area.
An area. Yeah. Very true. Yes.
We do still have ball gowns, and there are girls who still choose wedding gowns, or who choose ball gowns. The majority in our store, the majority of our brides choose a fitted or a flow.
Yes,
not
agree.
A ball gown.
Not a ball gown.
And we've been hearing for how long? At least 2 years now that ball gowns would be coming back into fashion.
Yeah.
And we've never got there. We've never hit it. I don't know if it's the Ottawa market. I don't know if it's something that designers want that to come back because they're making ball gowns and they want that to be more popular. So I don't know what's holding it back. But they've been saying for a while that ball gowns are coming back and we're not seeing it yet.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing, though. I mean, the basque waists are coming back again. So with the basque waist, it's a bit difficult to have a fitted dress and a basque waist. It's a very defined look for sure.
Yes, we have seen a few. There's a few
We have
coming
seen
in
a
the
few.
next seasons. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
But you're right. That could be a catalyst. That could help bring in the ball gowns.
Agreed.
I am a big fan of a very big, dramatic ball gown.
Same.
Mhm.
When else do you get to wear that?
It's true.
Be like this enormous dress. I love that look. I just love it. Yeah. What else has changed? There's been so much has changed. I mean, the idea of shopping around, that didn't happen. I mean, when I first started, there was 4 dress shops to choose from in the Ottawa and surrounding area.
Mm-hmm.
What did we count now? Like we always count like the Seaway and go down to like the Valley and stuff, but I think we're 25.
Mm-hmm. It fluctuates between about 22 to 25 at any given time.
Yeah.
20, low 20s.
Yeah.
Bridal shops, individual bridal shops
Correct.
that you could choose from to go find your dress.
That's just in the Ottawa area because people travel. I mean, we have people come from Toronto and Montreal, and all across Canada. We have people travel to come see us. But back, oh my gosh, when I started, it wasn't that at all. You went to 2 shops, maybe, or you just knew you were going to go to this one shop. That's where you wanted to buy your dress. You came in, you found it, and the process of finding your dress was so different than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So different.
Do you think that because you were more involved in that process of finding the dress much more than I was, even though we've both been in the wedding industry, essentially the same amount of time.
Yep.
But you were involved in the actual dress finding
Correct.
process. Do you feel like the biggest shift in that came from shows like Say Yes to the Dress, or like that kind of reality TV idea, or do you think it started before that?
I think that was a catalyst to it.
Mhm.
I think because it was the idea, also the idea of being able to shop around because you knew you had choice. More places popped up and then more designers of wedding gowns showed up. And so there was so much choice out there. And we all love the idea of choice now. Like when you're rolling through Amazon for a product, you just don't go on the first thing you see. You're like, oh, that one's nice. Can I find it somewhere else? Is it cheaper? Is it better? What's the quality of this one? So it's the same idea now of when you go dress shopping. You're like, I love this dress. And we hear this often now where a bride will put a dress on, she'll cry and be like, I love this. This is my dress. And you're like, great. Okay. Well, this is the next step. This is this is the process. And they're like, well, no, I'm not buying today. But even though you're like, this is my dress, I cannot say yes right now. I need to go home and think about it or go look at more dresses to solidify this is my dress. Mm-hmm. Which is before you would just be like, yeah, this is my dress. End of story. It was like in the beginning days of when I started, the change rooms were so small. You were all in one of our, like, if you've been to our bridal house before, you'll know how big the rooms are. And they're like, we're in a Victorian house currently. And each of the rooms that would have been bedrooms are viewing rooms. Before, there was one viewing room and 4 parties in that room. So you and your party members were all smashed in the same room. And so you would help 2 brides at a time in the change room. You would change one, she'd go out, show her party members. The other bride would come in, get changed in the same change room and go out and show her party members. It was just such chaos.
Well, and for size perspective, as a comparison, I'd say like in a normal house right now, think of your living room.
That's how big our rooms.
That's
yes.
how big the room is. Correct. Because the Victorian rooms were grand. They're large.
Yes.
So think of your living room and put, say, 20 to 25 people inside that living room.
Yes.
There's
and 4 of them have
4
wedding
groups. 4 of them have wedding gowns. And there's 4 separate groups of them. So like you're hosting a party and you invite 4 people that you know, who then invite 5 people that you don't know.
Because that's what it would be. And it was wild. The comments that would come out of some people were wild. I mean, we still hear it now, just not to the extent, because that is why we started private rooms. Because people are so mean. They don't even know this other group that they're with. And, a friend would turn around and be like, wow, that dress doesn't look good on her. And you're like, we can hear you. There's no divider here. What is wrong with you? There's no filter. And so the private rooms became an important thing for us.
Yeah. And it became a part of the experience too, because in that entire shift where social media started, where reality TV started, showing the process of finding a dress, showing people trying on dresses, the comparisons became huge. Mm-hmm. And us being able to provide a private experience became much more important because people would realize what it was like. Again, say yes to the dress if anybody's ever seen it. There are certain places in that store that are individualized, like there's private-ish spaces, but the majority of what you see, they're out in this open, massive area with a couple other people. Everyone can see you. You can see everyone. That show is its own thing that created massive ripples in the entire bridal industry.
Everything.
But it also made people realize that they don't want to feel like cattle when they go try on their dress. You don't want to see everything and hear everything and have other people involved that you don't know.
Yep.
So it changed a lot, and that is where we came down to. I think it was a slow process to start with. When we took over the bridal shop, we had a few rooms that were shared sometimes.
Correct.
Not always, but sometimes. But it was a very slow progression of changing it to a much more private experience.
Yes.
Whereas now we offer a specifically private appointment, like a luxury white carpet appointment, where you can have everything to yourself. Not just your room, but like everything, the entire shop to yourself. It has become this experience that is so dramatically different than what it was originally.
Totally agree.
Not even just, we started off with dresses. It's not even just the dresses that have changed over the past.
It's the whole experience. It's the whole start to finish of a wedding. Even like weddings at that time too, where you went by the book. This is how your wedding was to go, and this is how everyone's wedding went. End of story. You wore this color shoe, you put on a garter, you wore a tiara, had a big puffy veil. Like it was
very rigid.
Very rigid. Whereas now I find weddings are so unique to the couple. It's refreshing.
It is absolutely. And that to me, that came entirely from the pandemic. There were starts of it. People were starting to do individualized weddings, trying to make it unique to them as a couple.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic. At that time, because you still had to fight against your parents, your in-laws, your guests, everybody held those traditions so heavily. It was an uphill battle for the bride and the groom or the couple in any way to try and argue with everyone that no, this is what we want to do. So most people just gave in and did what was tradition.
Agree.
The pandemic was a huge change for people doing what meant the most to them.
Yeah.
What represented them, either as the individual, like the dress, or to them as a couple, like having a crazy theme or having 10 people on a beach. The changes we've seen since then.
And it's nice. It's so nice, and something that's been so stagnant for so long to watch it change, because not everybody likes the same thing.
No.
Your wedding's about you and the union between yourself and your partner. End of story. How do you want to celebrate that?
It should represent you. It is literally about you.
Yeah.
Which is one of the hardest things for us to watch as well, because interpersonal relationships and family drama are a real thing. We all deal with it every day.
Yep.
And when we get a glimpse into that, because we're a part of your appointment and because we've created this experience for you, we become a part of your family and your drama and the management of those for the time that you're with us. Yeah, watching people have to struggle with is definitely difficult. It's what makes the experience so important, and trying to pull out those unique pieces that they're willing to push the boundaries on.
Yes, agree.
I do really enjoy some of the old aspects, like the really old aspects, pre-us, obviously. But like, did you know that idea of wearing a veil in your wedding, it came, I know two different reasons for it, because cultures are all different and the reasons for these things came about in different ways, right? But so one, it was you wore a veil so that the demons couldn't tell which one was the bride. All of your bridesmaids were wearing veils. Everyone had their face covered, so that when the demon came out to steal the bride, they didn't know who to take. So you were essentially just sacrificing one of your friends.
Your friends to this demon.
And then also the covering when you, I think I've heard it for, there's also cultural ceremonies now where you wear veils over your face, still to this day. But then there's also like the Viking ceremonies where the bride was stolen. So it was not seeing her not seeing where she was, that kind of thing. So the veil has interesting backgrounds.
It sure does.
Depending on where you look at it from. And the color, even the color of a dress, they were all kinds of colors.
They were all kinds of. I think this is just such a, new in comparison to how long people have been getting married or unions have been happening. It was Victorian times. It was Queen Victoria.
Made a huge splash with her white wedding gown.
Yep.
Nobody wore white before that. And then she created a fashion that has been lasting for I don't know how long, 100 years. Was it that Victoria? Which Victoria was it?
No, it was I think it was 150 years? What do we know?
It was let's say mid 1800s.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so, yes. Yeah, long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long time to keep on a tradition.
And a long time for something to have so dramatically affected the industry.
Yes.
That all of, well, North America, essentially, a lot of Europe wears white still.
Yes.
Only certain cultures held on to their heritage and their culture
Yeah.
to still wear colors, which is another aspect that while we don't get to work that into what we offer, it is an incredibly intriguing aspect of the wedding industry. The differences between North American culture,
Yes.
Western European
Yes.
culture, that typically...
We've seen a lot more doing two weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Two different cultural weddings, depending on yourself, your partner, and what you want. If you or the blending,
the cultural blending.
Yeah, it is so wonderful to watch. Love that. Again, it goes back to doing what feels right for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your union.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're from different backgrounds, absolutely, it's beautiful to see them melded together.
Yeah. The dawn of social media. That's how old I am. There was no social media when I started. There wasn't even, I'm trying to think if there was websites when I started. I don't even know if we had a website when I started.
I don't think you had a website when you, like, I don't
Not
think
when-
Sitters had a website when you started
No.
working there.
When we bought the business, they did.
Yes, in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm saying I don't think there was when you started
wasn't.
working there,
No.
but they had picked up some kind of minimal website to have that online presence.
Yeah.
But it was not
If you
anything.
can call it that.
Yeah, but it was like so early on in knowing what to do with an online presence
Yeah.
that it was literally just like a page with a bunch of pictures and writing on it. And
Yeah. Our biggest thing that we used to do was go to bridal shows, bridal fairs. Like, that was the hubbub of everything. And you always went to the one, it was January, because it was right after Christmas, and it was high season, and we'd have to shut the shop and bring our entire team down and do a like huge runway of like dresses, and the booth would be just slam packed of brides. That is where we did our advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, like it was absolute chaos. And then the wedding magazines, that's where all of our advertising was done.
Which is insane too, because we were just talking about that the other day. When we ask for inspiration pictures, they're never given to us from a magazine.
Never.
But the wedding industry has been one of the slowest to change from paper advertising.
There's still wedding magazines.
There
They're
are
still
still-
being printed.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And brides just don't bring them in. I mean, we get Pinterest pages sent to us. That's what we get sent to us.
Yeah.
Or our own Instagram.
Yeah,
If
our own
people-
social media
yeah.
or our own website, because everything's on there now.
Correct.
Yeah, but it always blew my mind that weddings still involve print.
Yep.
But why are we so slow to shift?
I don't know.
So that's my next question then. We've talked about all the evolution of it over time and over what we've seen since we've been in the wedding industry. What do we want to see shift?
I would say the fashion, but they're actually doing a decent job of at least shifting the fashion a little bit more. Like, there was a time when it was ruching. And if you got married at the time of ruching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every dress had ruching. It was plain, or a little bit of lace or a little bit of sparkle on it. And it was either fitted and ruched on the top and strapless and a lace up back, or it was a more like A-line ruched top and sweetheart neckline, strapless, and a lace up back. Like, there was no getting around that. End of story what it was.
You're right. In comparison, there has been a shift already. Agreed.
Yeah.
I would still put that at the top of my list, though, because I still feel like there's so much copycat.
There's tons. It's so hard then, because even, I guess, us as human beings dress quite similarly in whatever area we are in.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So
Pushing the box can only go so far if the
Correct.
people that you're serving will not go further.
correct.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having something completely different,
Mm-hmm.
but I would wear it. But that's because I wear very odd things.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice, though, to have a bit more of a mix. I mean, I would always say I would love to go to colored gowns, but there's always been that draw for people because I think we have been sold this for so long about a white dress, and you don't wear a white dress other than at your wedding. So you wait this whole time to wear this white dress.
It's deeply ingrained in our brain right now.
It is.
But I don't think it's a bad thing either. In the same way that you said, when do you get to wear a ball gown? We don't go to galas or balls anymore. There are a couple that exist still, but typically we don't get to wear that type of dress. So why not wear it at that time?
Fair.
When do we wear huge, beautiful white dresses?
Fair.
Some people do,
That's
but not
fair.
frequently.
No.
I myself cannot wear white because it'll be dirty in 2 seconds.
That's true. She will have it covered in something.
It's not just me. Prince of children.
Yes, that's true.
sticky whatever they had, shoe prints.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm not specifically against the white, although there are some designers that do absolutely phenomenal colored lace, which I do love.
Yes. It's nice. It's nice to see it change.
I would push further on the uniqueness of a wedding. That one makes me really happy. So while we still see that kind of in-between area, people are trying, the couple is trying to push a little further to but we're still held in the constraints of what we think a wedding is.
Yes.
I would personally love to see that push further. So it literally is not an expectation from your family or your friends of what they'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see what you see. It's my wedding. I would love for that to be, it's about me and my partner. We will create what we want to. Mm-hmm. And while your opinion is appreciated, it will not sway what I think I should have for my wedding.
Love that. Yes. Mm-hmm. I will enjoy my day the way I would like to, or the way my partner and I would like to.
But I would like to see that go further.
I like that.
It's a good question, actually. Let's put that out there. What do you think should change in the wedding industry? What have you been waiting, or if you are in the wedding industry, what have you been waiting to see change? Yes. Or if you're not in the wedding industry, what do you see that you think would greatly benefit us humans in general of this legal union? What would be the thing that you would love to see change? Let us know. Until next time.
Bye, guys.